OMG, I am here with the fabulous Elizabeth Faye. I know you guys already know her. So, Elizabeth, how you doing, girl?
I'm so excited to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So, funny thing is, we actually met in Orlando Premiere and we were with Hair Industry, the guys back there, and you're like, "Listen, just book it." And for like November, because I'm busy. I was like, okay,
So we're finally here.
we're here. So, anyway, tell everybody about who you are, what you do. How'd you get here?
Yeah, I'm Elizabeth Faye. I'm a mama, I'm a wife, I'm an artist. I am a licensed cosmetologist. That's how I started my career in the beauty industry. So I was a professional hairstylist behind the chair for 10 years, salon owner for 7. I was a beauty school teacher for 4. And I've been in education almost my entire career because I started at a famous salon that did a lot of education. So I was kind of thrown on stages like at 17, 18 years old. And so I got into education and presenting pretty young. And so I've worn many hats in education, from speaker to facilitator to coach. Nowadays, what I do, which is we might get into it, but I had a windy path that took me through a lot of different things. But what I do present day is I'm a life coach, I'm a healer, and I'm a speaker. I'm the founder of a brand called Hair Love University, which is one of the industry's larger independent communities. So we're a community-based education company for professional hairdressers. About anything in education we do, from retreats to courses to podcasts, any form of education we dabble in. But we really take a different approach. We take a holistic approach to the whole person. We know that success is an inside out job. And so that's probably what makes us different, makes us stand out. We have a incredible community. I've never seen anything like it, to be quite honest. So that's I run that brand. And then I have a personal brand that's more of a wellness focused brand. So I do a lot of healing retreats, life coaching, healing work, corporate wellness, speaking, writing on things like that. And then I founded a few other fun wellness initiatives in the last 3 years. One of them is Glow Breathwork. And so breathwork was a tool that throughout my path as a hairdresser, I went through serious burnout that led to some really life-altering health issues. And I
Mm,
was forced to go on a health and healing journey. And
mm,
breathwork was one of the most potent modalities that changed my life and my husband's life, who Derek struggled with depression and anxiety and suicidal ideation really badly.
mm.
So long story short, we run a global accredited breathwork school. So it's an online school training for people who want to learn trauma-informed facilitation with breathwork and meditation. So we run that. And then we have a corporate and B2B program called Vitality Project. And so Vitality Project is probably what I'm the most lit up about right now. It feels like my legacy work. It's everything I've done, everything that's fallen apart, everything that's exploded, everything that's been amazing, good and bad in my life has brought me here. Vitality Project is the industry's first ever wellness program. So it's a curriculum that literally plugs into beauty schools and wellness schools, from massage, skin, hair, barber, nail. And we're now in a few huge franchises. We're about to be even in a few more. We're partnered with Pivot Point, and so we are a curriculum that gives teachers trauma-informed training tools. It also gives students tools for that wellness, self-care, and we have a program that is also for salon and spa owners, where salons can actually provide a proper wellness program for workplace and employee-based wellness that is going to change the narrative, over time of our industry. So it's been literally everything I know, everything I've dreamed of, everything I've built, my retirement, my savings, everything has gone into birthing this, and it is coming to life. So, wellness thought leader. There you go.
I love all of it. I remember I actually sat in one of your classes during premiere, and you were telling a little bit about who you were and like how did you come to be. And you were mentioning the Vitality Project, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is revolutionary. I'm so excited. This is going to change so many lives and set them on the right path to success, right?" And you mentioned that success is holistic, right? It's the whole person. So just tell a little bit about what is your secret to success and what does it mean to you and your definition?
Yeah. So I helped a lot of people for a long time when it came to craft education, and I did a lot with business and a little bit of motivation, a little bit of life coaching. I called it basic bitch life coaching, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like, hey, I'm a Utah. I live in Utah. Like I know about a basic bitch. Like we have hydro flasks. Like we all go to swig. Like we all have UGG boots. Like I know that robe. And so I mean that in the form of like the more surface level useful things, super useful, but like goal setting, basic manifestation principles, your why. So I did a lot of that and it was very deeply transformative for clients. But I didn't do like deep, deep healing work like I do now
Mm,
with people. Um, and, as I was a business coach for years, helped tens of thousands of people, I could literally see in the back end of my programs where people get stuck because I can see
mm,
in the software where someone
right.
stops, where someone just doesn't log in anymore. I can notice they stop coming to live Zoom calls for the groups. And there were a few sticky points that people got stuck on. And one of the biggest ones was money, but
Mm,
anything else that had to do with their leadership or like stepping out with their voice, being heard, like it's where their body, and I didn't have the language for it then, would
mm,
basically have, they would get triggered. They would go into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. They would shut down. It's too hard to open a spreadsheet. I'm stupid.
yeah.
I'm dumb. I'm not smart enough. Subconscious mind goes, right?
Right.
Or, oh my gosh, I can't be heard. I can't be seen. What will people think of me? Or
Mm,
I'm not a leader. Or who am I? Like these identity things that we are all struggling with. We're all learning how to self-actualize in our growth journey. And I didn't really have the language for it for a long time, but I knew that the things that helped were the more holistic things. And so my dad's a
right.
yoga teacher, we host
Nice.
retreats. We did, what's your why? What's your purpose? Work like that. And that was the medicine that I noticed made the biggest change for people because they felt more centered and grounded. And when I went on my path that I'm on now and ended up, you know, going down a different schooling path for my retreat, basically, or for my career, being like, oh, I'm no longer just doing, exploration retreats or business retreats or craft retreats. They're like healing retreats as I
Yeah.
became a certified life coach and trauma informed and learned somatics and NLP and all the tools I use. I really learned why people were getting stuck. And I was like, oh, this makes so much sense. And it really like honestly was validation that the intuitive path I had been on, which was the human forward path, this inside out approach was not only, oh, just my people, it was making a difference for. It was actually how our body and mind works. And so if
Right.
we literally can take an approach like that, so it refined our approach and the results were like epically different. And I feel like
Mm,
I had great results. I was one of the better business coaches in the industry. Like I had a very successful thing, but people were still getting stuck. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'll make the calculator better. I'll make the curriculum better. I'll do
right.
more hands-on help. And it helped, but it didn't alchemize what was stuck for them for as many people as I'd like to have seen. And so once I took this path, I really saw like, oh, no, no, no. Like this is like proven how the mind works, how the body works. And if we can help people work with their own system, their own intelligence, they really can achieve anything that they feel called to do in this life. And so
Mm,
for me, our work is focused 80% on the person. And so personal identity work, belief work, nervous system regulation, self-care, wellness, because at that point strategy is fucking easy. It's like there's only so many things you can do to grow your Instagram. Show
thank
up,
you.
your messaging clear, look at
Yes.
your look at your analytics, adjust, hire a team, have them do the things you're not good at, look at your numbers, like adjust, make sure profit
Yeah.
margins are high. But it's the what do I want to say, who I really am, part of the messaging that's hard. It's the
Right.
do I feel safe to be seen and judged? And can I handle the capacity of what that looks like? That's scary. It's the, fear of managing money. If I make more, what will I do with this success? I don't know how, right? That's the shit that gets us stuck. We
Yes.
can do that. There's a lot of brilliant system strategies that I or other people are sharing that work, that are incredible. And we're the puzzle. We're our own cock block, right? Like we
Right.
are the solution and we're also like Taylor Swift, like, hey, it's me, I'm the problem. Like,
Yeah.
and so that's great because we're also the solution. So that's how I see
Yes.
success. Yes.
I love everything you just said, especially being a certified life coach. I know everybody and their mother all of a sudden is a coach, but are you certified? So I'm very happy that we share that in common. And then the other thing was how you mentioned that you gotta know who you are first.
100%.
And I feel like so many people just go like, "Oh, I just need the formula. That's it." Whether it's for hair color, for business, for numbers, for branding, you know? And so I'm so happy that you're like, "No, it's so much deeper than that. It's not just a formula."
Yeah, and then the formula is a tool, right? Then the formula
Right.
is a asset. But healing's all about everything I need is inside and learning how to self-actualize and utilize our usness, right? Our body,
Right.
our breath, our, ability to rewire our stories and then using, external things as tools, as assets,
Mhm.
as things that help us, but they're not the missing piece. Like I feel like so many people are looking for the missing piece, and I'm
Mhm.
like, it's an inside job. Like
Right.
it's
It's right here.
wholeness. Yeah, wholeness is an inside job, and that's beautiful news. And I think that it's scarier than wanting a calculator or a
Mhm.
formula or a step by step. Like it's
Yeah.
brave to do that. And I think that's why a lot of people, they either don't have access to those resources, which is very real and a real challenge, or don't have the awareness that it's even a availability or that might be the
Mhm.
solution.
Yeah.
Or they're afraid, which all things so valid.
Yeah. All of it. It's so valid, it's so normal, and it's going to be okay.
Mhm.
So you mentioned before that you had a little bit of a health scare.
Yeah,
So do you mind sharing what
not
that
at
is?
not at all. Trigger warning, just like gonna say it before in case anyone doesn't want to tune in, but it's a beautiful story. Part of this is about suicidal ideation. And part of this, yeah, it's in that realm of things. So I personally went through a physical health crisis, and my life partner went through a mental emotional health crisis. Um, I didn't realize that the emotional, mental, spiritual body are all connected. I did not have the awareness that my trauma could impact my physical health, that an autoimmune disease could be tied to emotional and mental distress. I didn't know that. And if you didn't know that, I didn't either. And a book that actually changed my life was The Body Keeps Score.
Mm,
And it's kind of a heavy read, but the author he works a lot with trauma. He's like a giant in the trauma space. And so his work and Peter Levine's work was very eye-opening for me. So I in 2018 got really sick
mm,
and I didn't know what was wrong. And I had a full empire at this point, like salon owner, big clientele. I was on stages. I mean, list, resume, amazing, great. Was a mom, was dating my now husband. And I started getting really sick. My body started hurting. I was having chronic inflammation. Even if you scroll back, I did not look like myself for like 3 years. Like if you see pictures of me the
mm,
rest of my life and then this period, and now I look like myself now and before, but not in that period of time. And I was so inflamed. I was so puffy. My body hurt. My joints hurt. I felt like I had um just every joint was like filled with pain. I was having chronic fatigue, brain fog. I was starting to have anxiety. I didn't know what a panic attack was until this time in my life when I thought I was having a heart attack and learned that was what a panic attack was. And I was starting to have all these symptoms, chronic migraines, I mean, debilitating, and my joints would hurt so bad I couldn't even scroll on Instagram. And I was
mm.
not hair at this time. So it wasn't due to hair or coaching, or it was just due to burnout, fucking burnout across the
Yeah.
board. Like anything you do, and whether I was a coach or a hairdresser or a salon owner, we're all in this business of doing a lot for other people.
Yeah.
And I was just giving, 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 giving. And I thought self-care was like getting my nails done and,
Mm,
whatever, those sorts of
right.
things. That is a form of self-care, but it wasn't the mental, emotional, like physical self-care.
Right.
And so, I was in this phase of my life and I was going to therapy and I had life coaches. That was something I always did. I always paid for, to be in masterminds or extra education, but more business focused with a little bit of personal development. Nothing like really spiritual or really deep or trauma healing, none of that. Um, And so I was like getting really scared. Like I was like, I don't know what to do. So I started getting labs, started going to doctors, every specialist you can think of. Like I was like, do I have cancer? Do I have autoimmune? Do I have like
Hmm.
what someone diagnosed me and give me a pill. And I want to
Yeah.
be honest, I wanted a diagnosis and I wanted a pill because I wanted answers. And I didn't want the answer to be you have to heal. That was not what I wanted the answer to be. I wanted the answer to be, this is the pill that will heal you. And
Yeah.
I think, a lot of people feel like that. They want, we just want it to be over. And I didn't want to have to do, more freaking hard work. I had worked so hard in so many areas of my life. And that was the year I started realizing that I had a lot of limiting beliefs that I had to struggle to be successful, that I had to constantly sacrifice and earn to be successful. And
Mm.
every benchmark I had hit in my life, $100,000, 500,000, $1 million, a big team, found a man, all the things, bought the house, did the car, went on the European vacation. I still felt like the same. I still felt overwhelmed. I still felt burned out. I still felt like I hadn't arrived. I was
Mm.
actually getting more sick. The responsibility just became more and more. And I was like, when do I arrive? And I'm getting sick. What the hell
Yeah.
do I do? And that was the year I learned about human design actually, and I learned about I was a projector and I was deeply living outside of my energetic blueprint. Projectors are about doing less. Their story is ease. My story was how hard can it fucking be? And like really celebrating every single moment of resistance of overcoming like my kink was like the struggle. And
Mm.
like struggle, I love the Buddha quote, and this changed my life, was pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional.
Ooh.
Like pain is people are going to die. Things are going to
Hmm.
happen. Health crisis. Someone's going to hurt you. Things are going to fall apart. Yes, you signed up for Earth School. You've got soul contracts to fulfill, baby. You will be initiated. But what you do with the pain is what is either suffering and struggle or the alchemy process of wisdom, of the fortification into purpose, into the strengthening, and how long you got to drag this shit out. Like you got to be the victim of your story, or are you going to be the inner medicine woman man and like really reclaim your sovereignty? And
Hmm.
I just was like, well, that's how you're successful is you work your ass off, you sacrifice everything, blood, sweat, and tears, and then you get the cookie, and then what, you do it again? Like I was on this hamster wheel.
Mm.
And I was teaching other people to do this, and they were making a lot of money and they were so tired. Like we were all girl bossing so hard. And,
You look back and you're like, oh, sorry, guys.
oh,
Sorry.
100%.
My bad.
And like it's the narrative of what we're taught with business, though. Like
Yeah.
every big guru in business, you haven't seen this collective shift really till the last like 5-ish years,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And it was COVID that really sped it up. So, anywho, I got really sick and I ended up getting a lot of mystery diagnosis of and also like beginnings of problems. Like, okay, you have arthritis, some autoimmune there.
Right.
Uh, your insulin's out of this world, your PCOS, you're pre-diabetic, these things are impacting you. So a lot of like markers of like, if you keep going, this is not cute. This is not demure. This is
Right.
not mindful. And 2019, I actually came out on my stories and posted about it because I literally was like, somebody's going to know something in my community that I don't know. And I feel
Right.
like I've hit every dead end. And so that actually was very helpful. And I learned a lot of people in my community were also burned out. We're also just fried and we're having
Hmm.
health issues and like what a collective issue this was in the industry and world, let's be
Hmm.
honest.
Yeah.
And so I was on a tour that year and I had started my healing journey that year of like starting to be more open to other ways of doing things. And that was the year that I started getting into breath work. I had a shaman and a medicine teacher and some life coaches who all made me do breath work and I fucking hated it. Like I absolutely hated it. And I like was like,
It
can
sounds
we
like me. Like I do it, but it's whatevs. Anyway, continue.
But it was because my nervous system was so wrecked. Like
Right.
it was
Right.
like this is not fun for me. And that's not everyone's experience, like at all. But I love breath work now. I look forward to it now, but I'm much easier to soften and surrender into my body now. But it
Mm.
years for me. I had a lot of nervous system healing to do. Um, Anywho, so that was how I started getting into that work. I started receiving inner child work and trauma
Yeah.
healing and ancestral work and, emotional healing work and detoxing and like really going on the path, like doing the damn thing. And
Hmm.
like, I guess I'm gonna do some weird shit. Like I was literally like, our life is falling apart health wise, and you can have 99 problems when your is a problem. You got one. You got one
Hmm.
problem. Nothing else matters. And so I was like, we're just gonna fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
And at the same time, my life partner, who I thought we weren't going to stay together at the time, he struggled with very severe depression, suicidal ideation and attempts, and just, some really dark,
Yeah.
heavy parts of humanity that he's experienced. And a lot of shadow with that. And he was on depression medicine and therapy, and that had kept him alive to this point.
Hmm.
And the medicine stopped working. And this is what they call medicine resistant. So what they do is they up the dose, but there comes a point that you can't up the dose anymore. Like it's just
Hmm.
not okay to keep taking more and more.
Right.
And so they ended up putting him on a few other medicines. Fun fact, if it's the wrong medicine for your body chemistry, you can have a psychotic break
Oh,
and you
fun.
can kill yourself. All sorts of fun things.
Oh,
So you can imagine all hell
yeah,
and was loose at our house. And it
for
was
sure.
safe, it was scary, it was traumatizing, it was all of the above. And I'm sick and running an empire and a mom at the same time.
Mm.
And so I love this man and I want him to be okay, but I probably don't want to be with him anymore. But I don't want him to not be okay. And he doesn't want me to not be okay. And so we both made a pact with each other after they did a DNA test and said none of the medicine will work for you. Which, fun fact, if you're on this path, do the DNA test first. I
Yeah.
didn't know that was a thing. That should have been the
That's really
recommendation.
cool. I didn't know you could do that. So,
Yeah,
okay.
that should be the first thing you do so you're not fucking around with your life and your
Yeah.
mental emotional health. But like whatever, that doctor missed the mark with that. But I tell people because I'm like, that could save a life, literally.
Yeah.
So anywho, they did the testing and said, oh shit, well, you're medicine resistant. And that means none of this is going to work for you. And we're like, what? The pill that keeps you alive doesn't work, and there's no magic pill that's going to help us. And that was terrifying, absolutely
Yeah.
terrifying. And it absolutely forced us to take a holistic route and to really understand mental and emotional health and on a deeper level.
Hmm.
And we both looked at each other and we said, we have nothing to lose. We're going all in. We're
Mm.
going to meet the little versions of ourselves. We're going to moan and do breath work and all the things that come with somatic healing.
Yeah.
And it's going to be weird. And we're just going to do it. We're going to learn how to heal our nervous systems. We're going to dive into our trauma, even though I'm terrified.
Mm.
And, I was afraid I would lose myself through that journey. And
Yeah.
I've already lost myself.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I remembered myself and we
Mm.
fell back in love and we ended up getting
Mm.
married. And he's such a beautiful human. He's one of the most incredible breathwork healers I know. A man who has touched so much of his own shadow and the
Yeah.
deepest, darkest parts of himself and, works through that. He's an incredible healer. And within 6 months of that journey, I was like, oh, I'm not the same. Like I was having my spiritual awakening, the whole thing. And that was when I began my path of all of the millions of
Yeah.
certifications I feel like I'm constantly in. And it just became a study of like, how do we heal? What does it mean, to really self-actualize? What are the tools that work? What is the science? And
Mm.
I slowly throughout the years integrated them into a course, into my work. I retired old things, I adjusted them. Um, and I was never the same.
I love that. And that was never the same. Beep, done. Well, I
Yeah.
definitely got chills from that. Like, oh my God. And then this is your husband, right? That was with you.
My husband.
This,
Yeah.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. See, when you figure yourself out, you are able to open up your love space and like fall back in love. And that is huge. That is huge. Okay. So then, so then what do you feel people kind of like misinterpret about what you do?
That's a good question. I'd love to know from them. Maybe a misinterpretation. would be, and I'm guessing, I'm projecting, right? I
Sure,
don't
sure.
really know to be sure. Maybe someone who is afraid of the woo-woo. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm going to
Yes.
use that with air quotations. Like they're not
Yeah.
when they don't realize how much science is actually backing all the ancient modalities and science-based
Yeah.
modalities that a lot of healers and life coaches and
Hmm.
trauma-informed facilitators use and how much it would literally be such a life hack and a game changer for them. So if I had to guess, would be, obviously people who are open, desperate, or aligned probably come into my work, or they're like, well, what is she drinking? I'd like to try it, right? And I'm like, well,
Right.
come on over. We're doing breath work or nervous system regulation. And so maybe that's a hesitation of like, or it's scary of like, if I have heard a few people say, I'm afraid if I get into that, like my business will like fall apart, like if they make time for their healing. And I had that fear so deeply. So I understand that so much.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But
Yeah,
I don't know. What
because
do you think?
no, I love what you do. I am totally about it. Like, but I know just as being a hairstylist or a beauty pro, people have this myth, this like, oh, well, you just play Barbies all day. Or if you're an esthetician, you just wash faces with
Of
soap. It's
course.
like, no, it's not it. It's not what I do.
Yeah.
What is the biggest insult that maybe you have gotten that you're so proud of today?
Okay. Like, give me a little context of that.
Like, what is it that somebody may have told you, try to like put you down that today you're like, hell yeah, thank you. And like that's
Yeah.
like your
Yeah.
driver.
Oh man, maybe a few, but I think a few would be I have one with health and one with related to hustle.
Mhm.
One with health was that both what Derek and I have in our own personal health journeys would never be able to be healed or whole ever. And I feel like that really for me was so depressing to hear and
Mhm.
made me like determined to be educated and learn and find answers.
Mhm.
And I feel so um proud of what I've been able to learn and share and how many people I've been able to help that it was like if maybe, I hadn't been told that I wouldn't have dove into this work as hard as I did looking for answers because I was like that reality doesn't work for me. Like no.
Mhm.
So I think that one. And then, I a lot of my original mentors in life who I love and appreciate so much, but just really live in the paradigm of like life is hard and constant sacrifice and struggle. And, it was my burnout that was so extreme in my health that made me be like, well, I'm not going to do any of this shit anymore if that's the case, because it's not worth it. It's not worth my kid. It's not worth my health. I love that I help people, but like I'm gonna have to help them in a different way because my
Mhm.
life isn't worth it. And that's what got me into the energetic works, the feminine embodiment work,
Mhm.
the work of ease, understanding my own charts and energetics, um, and then really being able to build businesses through the lens of my book that comes out. It's called Show Me How Easy It Is, but really that thought process and concept of like ease not only as a desire but as a value in our company, and
Mhm.
that it exists, it's real, it's profitable, it's and all can, experience
Mhm.
it. So I think that I never would have fallen into that if it hadn't been for being told, like, well, this is the one and only way to be successful. Like, you have to constantly hustle. You have to hustle in the beginning. You have to do this. You have to do that. And I'm not saying there's not elements of truth in that. I think it comes through a really wounded lens, though.
Mhm.
And I think our relationship with it overall is more toxic than it is healed and
Yeah.
grounded.
Yeah.
And I think that has created a culture where people are like literally call it hustle culture, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think I'm grateful for that experience because I've been able to really build something in a completely different way and teach thousands others to do it.
Yeah. Well, and
And it
you
works.
have. Yeah, and you have. It works and I love that now you have a book coming out. Like I just see from what I'm hearing like you were giving, 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 but now you're still giving but in a more self-sustainable kind of way.
That.
And I
Yep.
freaking love it. And I'm just like so inspired right now. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then you said the word sustainable. It's like that's it. Is like if it's not sustainable, you can't keep doing it. And I want to keep doing the thing I'm born to do, right? The person
Right.
listening, you want to keep doing the thing that you love to do. You
Right.
have to build sustainability into your business
Mhm.
from your self-care to your boundaries, to your marketing, to your team,
Yes.
to your support system, to your education. Like if it's not sustainable, you're building something that you're just going to have to change all your agreements on later. And that's where I think hustle culture burns us is okay, you're going to build your business on all these agreements of like people pleasing and overextending and overdoing and overgiving. And then you're going to pull it back. Like, well, people aren't going to be thrilled about that. Like, it's
Yeah.
harder to change your agreements to say, hey, team, I know I gave you all of this for 3 years. And now that our profit's where we need it to be, I'm no longer going to do that, but everyone's going to make the same amount of money. It's going to cause
Yeah.
friction. And I've done
Totally.
it. I know I have done it. Versus when you start out on the same page of like, this is what it looks like for our relationship, sustainability with your clients, with your team, with your social media. Then it's like you're building a strategy that matches your life and your health instead of you sacrificing those things in trade for some one day arrival point that when you
Yeah.
get there, you'll just have another goal, which is fine. And so it's like, build it where it can last, build it where
Right.
it feels good. Our motto in Vitality is feel good, do good. And so
Mm.
it's like when we lead with that, we're leading with the body, we're leading with the heart. And then the
Yes.
strategies and systems can really support that. And
Mhm.
that's long term. That's long term.
Yeah. Okay, what's your biggest failure and what did you
Oh,
learn from it?
Penny. Oh, I feel forward every day. Oh my goodness. I think I'll name a few, but like so many, I probably lose track. I don't view failure as failure. I see it as feedback.
Yeah.
And I, I'm a risk taker. I go out on a limb a lot. And so that means I fall on my face a lot, but I just don't see it as that. And I think the quicker we can learn that in our lives is like it is literally part of growth. It is necessary. It is
Mm.
required. It's part of it. And it's just showing you feedback. I mean, if we want to talk about failures, my first course was launched on a USB and no one bought it. I've had many launches, nobody bought. I've had retreats, my big not retreats, but our conferences, and I don't see it as a failure. I thought it was genius. We literally didn't hit our sales tickets. So we invited like 100 people for free to get to our first one so people could come. And then they
Oh,
kept coming. And it's like, I just never see any of it as anything other than this is the next right step.
yeah.
I mean, so many things. I mean, I literally every single day I'm probably messing something up. And it's like, I'm just learning, I'm figuring things out. Like right now, we're learning a lot with tech and AI and automations. And it's like, I feel like a kindergartner. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like learning
Yeah.
stuff. I mess up as a mom constantly. I'm learning, but he changes so fast. Like my
Oh,
health, my everything. And
yeah.
it's part of your story. It's part of your
Yeah.
initiation. It's part of the contracts you're given. And so it's like, just fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
Everything's growth, everything's sacred opportunity for transformation.
Love it.
Uh, Nothing's unhealable. Nothing's like, oh, I messed up. I can't come back. There's always like it's the setup, right? It's
Hmm.
like set up for the comeback. And so it's just yeah, I just see it like that.
I love that. No, I love that. I always tell like my staff and even my coaching clients, like fail forward and do it fast. Do it
Yeah,
quick. Let's get it over with and move to the next thing.
100%. And that's that integration of it, right? You learn the
Yeah.
lesson, you integrate it, and it
Yeah.
becomes more fortified and wise, and then you move on.
So, what's one lesson that being in the beauty industry, wearing all the hats that you've worn, what's the one lesson that you wish like a postman or a lawyer or a doctor would just get?
Hmm. What do you mean by that? Tell me more.
Like for me, it's always about like the golden rule, right? Like do to others what you would have them do to you. And when you go to a doctor's office, which you have experience, those nurses, oh my God, can be like the biggest bitch you've ever seen in your life. And you're like, you just want to like, right? But if they were in the beauty industry, they would know that customer service is like on top. So
Yeah.
what's the lesson for you that you want other
Yeah,
people to
yeah.
learn?
Like, what do we know as hairdressers that can
Yeah.
help? I mean, I think my TED Talk is what I would say, and I shared my TED. I mean, because I thought about
Yeah.
that, right? My whole TED
Yeah.
Talk is about this. It's about the power of making someone feel heard, seen, and loved, and I think that that's
Yes.
a powerful tool that you can use with your kids, with
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And it's been a rule for me in my life of, okay, I'm going to do this new initiative. What needs to happen for everyone to feel heard, seen, and loved?
Yeah.
What would that look like for myself included? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's something as beauty professionals that we do. We know it's so much more than the service, right? People
Mm-hmm.
aren't coming, like they need the haircut, but like, why do they go to you? Well, it's not because of the haircut. It's because of the way you make them feel. It's the relationship they have with you, the experience you offer, right? The environment, the energetics. And so that deep loyalty is so much more rooted than the nicest pair of shears that you have. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that that is something that absolutely any industry could learn from that we do really well.
Yeah. What you mentioned your book, you mentioned your TED Talk. You have not mentioned anything about the movie, but what do you have going on like immediate that our listeners can like go and get involved with?
Yeah. I mean, if this is released in 2025, I'm assuming it is. Yes.
Hmm.
Okay, perfect. We have planners that we made 4 years ago that are like this is like an accessible offer, right? Where you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to come to a retreat, which of course we'd love to have you come and the retreats are life-changing. But I think the planners are an incredible way to get started for your new year. I made these with all the NLP, all the life coaching skills, all the nervous system, manifestation tools. Like it's really all about how you plan your life is how you live your life. And it's like such a fun, colorful, sticky note stickers like experience. They're dateless, like they're beautiful. And we have like a course with it and a live workshop with breath work. Like it's so fun. So I think that's really, really fun. And if you are a salon owner or a student of a school or a
Mhm.
teacher at a school or whatever, really sharing what we're doing with Vitality Project and being a part of this at the founding level is something that it's always going to be available in the future to be a part of, but being a part of the founding of something is really special. Like I've
Mm,
watched people be a part of our other brands from the beginning, and it's kind of a once in a lifetime experience.
I love that. How are you nourishing yourself these days?
Well, I actually just did what I do a lot before our call. I have weird little rituals that I love.
It's totally fine. I love that. Share the weird.
Okay, they're weird. And so I have a sauna that I love. Oh my gosh, I love my sauna. So I do a lot of weird shit in my sauna. And by weird shit, I mean
Eh,
like work, singing, yoga, a
whatevs.
lot of like
Love.
ball work for rolling out
Mm,
sore parts of the body.
mm.
So that's kind of my, body, sound, and breath routine. I also, and if you're new to detoxing, you're going to be like, what? But like, this is actually very important for your health. I do coffee enemas regularly, which is really important for your nervous system, very important for your health. If that seems like wild, you
Wait,
can DM me
what? Wait, what did you say?
a
Coffee
coffee
enemas?
enema. So an enema goes up your ass.
Yes,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I got it. Okay. And it's coffee?
So not just coffee, it's very clean, organic. So detoxing is really important for your nervous system and your lymphatic system. You want the
Totally.
lymph systems like your plumbing systems. You want it
Hmm.
flowing. If
Right.
things are stuck, that's not good. Your nervous systems, your sensing systems, that's how you experience life. So if things are stuck like emotions, your emotional health can literally
Mm,
manifest disease,
yes.
anxiety, depression. So both systems are very important to have moving. So breath work and sounding and
Mm,
movement help with the nervous system. Um, Coffee enemas will help with both. And so it can help clear parasites, toxins. It just regulates your nervous system. So
that's
you
cool.
want to be flowing. You want
Yeah.
toxins moving and flowing. And so I do some detoxing with my clients inside of our programs. And
Yeah.
that's one of the first, if they're new to detoxing, I'm like dry brushing and enemas, like, baby girl, let's start here. Um, and so that's a regular practice and ritual that's very important for health. Very
Yeah.
easy to do. I can DM you the tools to
Yeah,
use.
you're gonna have to, because that's
Yeah.
very interesting to me.
Yeah, I do all the wellness girly things. I'm also like very much in my like, all this is biohacking. And so
Yeah.
this is forms of biohacking. And so I've been messing around with peptides, learning about them.
Love.
And I'm sure I'll bring peptides into my work inside my containers eventually. But I think that's really exciting as well as just understanding, how to have our health be working in our favor.
Hell yeah. Oh my God, that's so cool. I love that. Okay, the final question, because I know time is slipping. What is one question that I did not ask you that that you wished that I did, and how would you have answered?
Oh my. I don't know if I have one, but I'll come up with one. How about this? Is there anything else you would want to know or you think your listeners would want to know?
Oh, hmm. We talked about a lot of things. I mean, health to struggles to failure. You know what? What is the thing that people that you feel that they need to be successful?
Yeah. I think to be successful, you have to do your inner work. I
Thank
really think that. And I think that it can start very simply, but I think it should be an absolute priority for you to have a
hmm
mentor and to have mentors who are not just in business. You need mentors who support you spiritually, mentors who support you emotionally, mentally. When you're being mentored, learn these things for your life. Like they're tools that they're teaching you through these practices that become part of your lifestyle and making that just as important as money. I think it's so,
Mm,
and no, it actually will impact your finances and business because you're the container for it all. But like we put our relationships, we put our body, we put our emotional health, we put all this on the back burner. Um, and it really is the catalyst actually for success. And I
mm,
think, when you're rooted in your body and your health and
yeah.
your family and your values, um, everything else flows. It really does, because that's what really fucking matters the most. And then you feel like you're able to serve other people. And I think in our industry, we are working through giving to other
Yeah.
people, and that can only turn into service and overflow when we are filled. And so learning that that is a budgeted line item in your life for your time and your finance and your energy, that like if I'm not well, nothing else will move well. And
Mm,
I've watched it impact my son's life, my
mhm,
marriage, my every aspect of life. And so I think that that's the missing piece you're looking for if you feel like you're not locked into that. And if you are locked into that, just remembering to stay consistent with it,
mhm.
like that's just part of living a well, whole, vital life.
If any, if you learn anything from today, it's to go all in and be consistent. Like, don't screw around.
Hmm.
Fafo, right? Fuck around and find out, folks. Just try it.
Hmm.
Oh my
So
God. Elizabeth, thank you so much for coming on the Beauty Pro podcast.
I love it. And if you want later, I can send you a link that has some free breathwork practices that your people can
Yes,
try it out.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Send me all the links because we're going to put it in the show notes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, all the places. And if you are listening, my dear listener, okay, Bridgerton style, go reach out to Elizabeth Faye, contact her, and get onto it. Bafo. Anyways, thank you, Elizabeth, so much.